step up closer to the mics.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that okay right there?
You can just move it a little bit.
I just don't want to step on it because I know I will. Everybody ready? Good afternoon. My name is Brian Rayner. I'm an Air Safety Investigator with the National Transportation Safety Board. I'm here with a rather large team today in response to an accident that occurred yesterday afternoon, approximately 3:40 in the afternoon, involving a Cirrus SR-22 registration November 122 Echo Sierra and a Robinson R-44 helicopter November 7518 Quebec. I don't have a lot of specifics of the accident, but the information flow is very fast today. I'm getting a great deal of very valuable information, including air traffic, radar data. What I'll do is describe the team that I've assembled here and the work that they're doing, and then I'll answer your questions. At the moment, I have individual teams working the airplane and the helicopter simultaneously. I have two helicopter experts from our headquarters in Washington, leading a team of FAA inspectors as well as a manufacturing rep. I also have a team looking at the airplane that includes an investigator from the Office of Accident Investigation at the FAA, two of his regional inspectors, as well as a representative from the aircraft manufacturer working the airplane. It's my understanding, preliminarily, we're gonna confirm that today, but it's my understanding that there is hardware, there are components on board the airplane that store data. So it's likely that we will get flight information from the airplane itself that will include pitch, roll, yaw, airspeed, ground speed, that sort of thing. The helicopter, at this point I'm not certain what the helicopter is equipped with, and I'm also hoping that there are some maybe some portable devices that were carried in the helicopter that will help us. An air traffic control investigator from the NTSB headquarters is here now, interviewing at least one controller. He's also captured the radar and the voice data, and what he'll do is go through what he learns through his interviews and the data and the sound and the audio, and explain what happened in the sequence that it happened. Right now it's sort of a confusing blend of dots, so to try to explain it to you would be difficult for me. I've yet to see any aircraft records, but I know they're forthcoming. I will be able to do that in the future. I've gotten outstanding interview summaries from the Maryland State Police. I actually should have led with my thanks to the Maryland State Police, the local authorities, the county, city, police, fire, rescue, EMS. The Civil Air Patrol has been outstanding. The airport and AOPA have hosted us in their facilities. It's been actually a very easy place to work. Beyond that, I can answer a few of your questions.
Brian, Andrea McCarran with WUSA.
Yes, ma'am.
Questions for you. First, can you explain the role of the parachute with that aircraft and whether that really led to the survival of the two people on board the Cirrus? And secondly, were there previous problems with either of those aircraft?
I can answer your first question generically. I'm not an expert in this particular system, but the airplane is equipped with a ballistic parachute system that can be deployed by the pilot in the event that he or she believes that they can't complete a safe landing. And then the parachute lowers the airplane to the ground with minimal damage and with all other survivability equipment employed, seat belts, everything else, most likely result in a safe landing. And I think it's a fair representation of what occurred here. And no, there were no distress calls from either aircraft, and I don't have any reason to believe that there were any maintenance difficulties going on at the time. But that's why we conduct these investigations, and that's why I have teams on both airplanes looking at them, as we always do.
Do you have any idea of the mechanics of this crash, how they came together? It was certainly not head-on. One coming up under the other. Do you have any idea yet? And how will you determine?
No, I don't, but I'm confident that we'll get that information from several sources. See, my role here, especially early on in the investigation, is to just cast a big net and gather as much data as possible. I put no value on that data, and frequently it doesn't become information until this data point over here is compared with this data point collected over here, and possibly by different people. I may not know for days what maybe later on should have appeared obvious. And to be honest, I'm unconcerned, because I have experts with the physical evidence, and I have an expert with the electronic evidence that will probably answer that question with great clarity. But right now, no, and I'm unconcerned. I'm still picking up all the pieces. I'll worry about what they mean later.
How important will the testimony be of the surviving, the air traffic controller as well, who
Pardon?
apparently watched this happen? And how important will her comments, her testimony, her story be to your investigation?
Well, it all adds value, especially when you have expert witnesses, if you will. The pilot is probably more of an expert witness than a pedestrian on the ground. The woman in the tower is a highly trained air traffic controller. But I don't speak air traffic control. I could fly airplanes in the National Airspace System, but I wasn't an air traffic controller. The gentleman who's in the tower with her now, or maybe that interview is tomorrow, I can't be sure, he speaks the same language, and he'll be able to find out with much greater fidelity than I could, and then he'll brief me in English.
Do you know how many people were actually in the tower at the time this happened? Was it just going? Can you tell us anything more about that?
Well, I'm unclear on that, sir.
When do you plan on having the investigation finished?
I'll answer that later. Back to your question, sir. There were at least 2, possibly 3, but how many were actually on duty at the moment that the accident occurred, I don't know. To answer your question, the on-scene, probably this weekend. The entire investigation will take approximately a year.
When you have helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft sharing the same field of space, is there a hierarchy of who has priority landing or taking off and things like that?
Okay, that is really not a question that I can answer. It involves the rules of the road, if you will, and that is the purview of the FAA. Exactly what the procedures here are at this airport, or what they have published, I don't know. I can't answer that.
In terms of the data that you do you have a rough idea what the altitude was when the collision occurred?
Personally, off the top of my head, no, I don't. But I know it's captured. It's in the radar data. It's in the readout, and I know I'll get it. So again, I'm at this very moment, I'm unconcerned because I know I've already got it.
What condition is the helicopter in? And when you get to the scene of a crash like this, I know you've done this, but is it still gut-wrenching to see debris like this?
Well, anytime that there are fatalities involved, it's a terrible, terrible tragedy. And the reason we're here is to determine what happened and try to prevent it from happening again in the future. There's no scale to measure. Once there's a fatality, it's a tragedy. The helicopter, the damage is significant, and that's really as far as I'm willing to go. Excuse me, I forgot to turn off my phone.
When do you anticipate the plane and the helicopter being moved?
if things go as planned today, I hope that both the airplane and the helicopter will be removed from the site to a storage facility where if a more detailed examination needs to be completed, we can do it discreetly there.
Is there clarity in terms of who was piloting the helicopter? As I had understood from that company, there were 2 people on board who were capable of being pilots. Do you know who the pilot was on the helicopter?
No, and to repeat what I said last night, one of the things that we'll be examining is what certificates were held by each of the pilots, what privileges they could exercise with those certificates, what the purpose of the flight was, if it was instructional, currency, whether they were just logging time, whether it was a business flight. At this point, I don't know. But again, that's all information that's known. It's captured, and I'll get it. One more.
You touched on this earlier. You said there were no indications of any distress from under the aircraft prior to the collision.
I haven't heard any distress calls in the recordings that were forwarded to me, and neither was I advised of any distress calls in any of the correspondence that was forwarded to me from the FAA and internally from experts within my own agency. So.
Some accounts that seem to indicate to us, at least, from people on the ground, is the plane might have been in some sort of distress, might have been spiraling out of control immediately prior.
I have no evidence that supports that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you spell your name, sir?
Yes, sir.